What's up, Warriors fans? It's your main man, Max, here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as always. And now that the market's really cooled down in free agency, I think the Dubs really have some great opportunities moving forward. Now, the biggest thing I've heard in terms of opportunities has been the latest suitor for Jonathan Kuminga. Now, we've heard with Kuminga, okay, the Heat are really interested in him. They want to turn him into that all-star. Perfect. We've also heard that there's a decent amount of interest from the Pistons and the Kings. Okay, but they're not offering as much. And now we've heard some interest from the Bulls, though that seems to be a little tempered now that they've traded away Lonzo Ball and brought in, what's his name? Isaac Oriako. Say that 5 times fast. But the newest suitor I've heard has been the Washington Wizards. Now, this isn't the dumpster fire Wizards from several years ago. It looks like they're trying to make legitimate improvements with the team in order to be competitive next year. And by competitive, I mean, okay, let's make the play-in games and ensure that, all right, the Knicks get their draft pick next year so they don't have to convey 2 future second-round picks, which in the coming years seems more valuable than a single first-round pick. So if I'm the Wizards, I want to be as competitive as possible because I would say a mid first round pick is not as good as 2 future seconds that may be like high second round picks, like early 30s, but they provide a team with viable bench players, and that's something you don't want to give up in the long term, especially if it's back-to-back years. So I understand that, but with the Wizards, let's look who they got. Right, for a guy like Kuminga, they could trade guys like Marcus Smart, Chris Middleton, or even CJ McCollum, since they've been adding expiring contract veterans to their roster since the trade deadline. And those are 3 guys I really like to be traded for Kuminga because they provide that instant offense and that immediate veteran presence that the Warriors love and leadership qualities. Now we look at Chris Middleton. He's been a champion before. He knows what it takes to be a champion. Say you trade Kuminga for him, you bring him in, you have an expiring contract, a veteran, as well as a guy who can hit the 3 from a decent clip. Now, let's say they bring in Middleton. He fits right into that starting small forward role next to Jimmy Butler. And that is a big thing because Jimmy, he's a great player, but I feel like he's a natural 2, not so much a natural 3. He can lock down the best shooting guards as well as some of the best small forwards, but he prefers being at the 2, and I'd rather have him at the 2 next to Steph in the backcourt than in the front court with the likes of Draymond. Now, should it be like CJ McCollum or Marcus Smart? I like Marcus Smart better because he is that defensive mindset guy. He's, I think, the first guard to win Defensive Player of the Year since Gary Payton in 1996. That says a lot. So he's a guy who can lock down your opposing team's best player, and I really, really love that. Now with CJ McCollum, I'd look at him as, say, an upgrade over Buddy Hield because he's a much more high IQ player, but he doesn't really provide much difference. He's an off-the-ball kind of player, but he's still small, and I don't like him next to Steph. At least with Marcus Smart, he would come in for Steph or push Steph to the 2, just be that lockdown defender. But those are 2 great guys that can be offered for Jonathan Kuminga, and I feel like it would be a multiplayer trade, so it's not going to just be those 2 guys traded for Kuminga, but I think it's going to bolster the overall offense as well as at least some of the bench moving forward. So I'm okay with that, and I do like that suitor the best because it offers something that both the Bulls and the Heat can't offer, and even the Sacramento Kings can't offer it as well if they don't include DeMar DeRozan, and that's veteran presence and a guy who can fill a starter position. So I do like that. Hopefully things move fast and the Kuminga issue, or I wouldn't call it an issue, the Kuminga situation can get resolved quickly. Now the other news I've heard has been the Warriors might make their first move getting Al Horford. I mean, let's look at it. Al Horford's suitors were the Celtics, the Lakers, and the Warriors. Well, the Lakers signed DeAndre Ayton and just re-signed Jackson Hayes. So they're off. The Celtics, looks like they're going to do a gap year. They want to get as young as possible, get as much salary off the books as possible, and be competitive for the 10th seed. But that's pretty much it. They have too much going on. With Jaylen Brown's injury and Jason Tatum's injury. And if they're smart, they let Jaylen Brown rehab next year and let Tatum do the same and collect the insurance money as well as the disabled player exceptions for both of them. Sign a free agent and then work from there. So I don't see them doing it. It sort of leaves Horford in the only position, it's either Warriors or retirement. And I don't think he wants to retire losing the way he did against the Knicks this past postseason. So I could definitely see him coming to the Warriors. I think it's just an inevitability at this point. But with him on board, the Warriors still have to add guys who can back him up and at least be mentored by him. And two guys I really like are Marvin Bagley and Bol Bol. Now, we both know what they got. Bagley, considered a bust, but I'm just not buying it. Like that, well, I mean, yeah, you can consider it a bust because Luka was taken behind him, and he was supposed to be drafted by Sacramento. Didn't work out. But I feel like he's still got something to offer. He hasn't been with the right team that can completely utilize him to his fullest potential. All right, let's look at it. Sacramento, he was in a bad situation there. Traded to Detroit, started to show off what he had, but unfortunately, the clog in the front court prevented him from getting significant minutes. But he was able to almost average a double-double. Gets traded to the Wizards, starts averaging a double-double, but injuries and terrible management really came back to haunt him. And then gets traded to Memphis, where he puts up decent numbers, but nothing special because he's playing behind Jaren Jackson and Zach Edey. He's not really going to get his opportunity to shine behind those two guys. But should he go to the Warriors, yes, he's going to be a backup to Al Horford, but he'll get at least 20 minutes per game and be able to shine as a 7-footer, playing next to Draymond or even playing next to Horford, getting those 3-point shots to really improve there, as well as an opportunity to play in the post and really body up with some of those big guys as a fellow 7-footer, which is something the Warriors have desperately needed. Now, with Bol Bol, the situation is very similar to what Marvin Bagley went through, just as not as many years. Bol Bol started off with Denver as a second-round pick. He was not getting minutes over Joker, let's be honest. Now, he gets traded over to Orlando, starts to show what he can do a little bit, but they also have that clog in the middle, so they can't really do anything with him. Goes to Phoenix, was supposed to be a big part of Phoenix, but because of Brad Beal being there, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, doesn't really get his time to shine. So it was frustrating to watch that, but I believe with the Warriors, like his father who played with the Warriors before him, he can get an opportunity to show what he's worth. All right, he has a decent 3-point shot. He has arms just so long, it's ridiculous, and he can just block shots left and right. Now, that's the kind of guy I want to see the Warriors get, but it remains to be seen whether they'll do so. Now, to add on, they need to get guys that at least want to develop with the team. On top of, like, say, Bol Bol, they could get guys like Imani Bates, Brandon Boston Jr., who I've talked about before, even Johnny Juzang. Just guys who could fill up the roster and at least evolve and provide value to the Warriors off the bench, even if it is very small in the beginning. And I'm okay with that. But even if that does happen, one of the biggest things I want to see happen that isn't as far-fetched as it once was is LeBron coming to the Bay. Now, when LeBron initially released his statement, he's like, okay, I'm opting in, but I'm evaluating whether this is going to be a playoff team or not. Now, what does that mean? All right, one, I didn't realize LeBron had a no-trade clause, so that really limits where he can get traded, and he's going to decide where he gets traded or he's staying with the Lakers. And right now, the Lakers view him as an expiring contract. Not the greatest thing when it's the LeBron-Lakers breakup. Now, it's going to be a rough ending, but it's going to be a satisfactory divorce. Now, my gut tells me that it's going to end up in a buyout because nobody could take on LeBron's contract. Yes, LeBron is still a great player, and there are contracts out there that can be traded for him. But the fact remains, he's an expiring contract. He's going to be 41. And in the modern NBA, you want control you want controllable players, similar to how the MLB likes their controllable players who are still under their 7 years of arbitration contracts as they come out of the minors. But LeBron is an expiring contract, and he has to go to a place where, all right, it's better to have 1 year of LeBron versus 2 to 3 to 4 years of this other guy who can match contracts. But there are no teams out there that can do it. I think the only legitimate trade scenario that he would accept that would be thrown out there would be Kawhi for LeBron. Now, I like that deal for both teams, but I don't think Steve Ballmer's going to go for it because, let's be honest, Steve Ballmer's worth billions upon billions of dollars. You think he's going to take advice from LeBron? Not a chance. Like, that is a great stadium, and I think LeBron would thrive there, but it's not going to happen. I just don't see it because they like Kawhi, they like him for a reason, and I believe the Clippers have their own timeline, which is why I believe that LeBron's eventually going to get bought out, whether it be for half his contract to 3/4 of his contract. The Lakers are just going to straight up divorce. It's like, take the house, take the car, I'm keeping this, just leave me alone. And that's what's going to happen. And that's going to allow LeBron to pick his next team. And out of all the teams that are going to be interested, I still think the Warriors are going to be the one he eventually chooses because we all remember how great it was seeing him and Steph play together and how in sync they were. I mean, the two of them together in that final game against France was amazing. They were just like a dynamic duo. It was like watching the Justice League beat the crap out of the Legion of Doom. That's how crazy it was. Now, we know this has been an ongoing championship. France played Team USA in Tokyo. They played Team USA in Paris. So we all knew this is a repeat of the finals that happened. So it wasn't anything unexpected. But you know what? With LeBron on the Warriors, they will be an unstoppable force. And they'll go up against teams like Oklahoma City. They'll go up against teams like the Rockets, who are completely revamped. The Rockets are scarier than Oklahoma City right now. Oklahoma City can have all the experience they want, but the Rockets are scary. But they'll go up against, a team like the Rockets, and they will dismantle them. They'll use what they know to just completely defeat them, and it's going to be great to see. Because they're going to be such a force that it won't even matter how many players the Rockets have in their depth. Those guys are going to be running 35 to 40 minutes, and they're still going to be fresh after 40 minutes because of how motivated they are and how together and in sync they are. So once LeBron gets bought out, he's signing with the Warriors, and next thing you know, the Warriors are destroying the league like it's 2016-17 all over again. And the craziest thing will be, I wouldn't doubt that the Warriors break their own record of 16-1 to set a new playoff record of 16-0 in the postseason. Calling it now. I'm just saying. Now, bottom line is the Warriors need to start making those moves. If they want to show, at least to other players who may get bought out and want to sign like LeBron, they need to show that they're actually making improvements to the roster. Whether that be finally signing Al Horford, whether that be getting some smaller guys to really fortify the bench on top of what they have, or even just making a trade to bring in better talent. I mean, we know not Kuminga, we know Buddy Hield, and we know what Moses Moody can do. They are bench players, but combined they could at least bring a more viable bench player in before they start signing some of these minimum contract guys. And I say minimum contract because some of the guys that are getting signed right now were on decent contracts last year, but now they're signing at minimum deals now. And I think that's a very big indicator of where the market is. The Warriors can go out and get a solid tier bench player for a fraction of the price. And I think they need to attack that, and they need to inquire on a lot of these players to fill their bench. They can't bring back the same guys from last year. They already lost Looney. Gary Payton, great player, but doesn't fill what the Warriors need right now. So they need to make some moves. They need to find players that'll fit the bench and then make a bigger move later on. That'll help build the Warriors into that championship team that they're supposed to be. And for Warriors Latest, I'm your main man, Max, and as always, go Dubs.